Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And I welcome you all on behalf of Indian Society of Cosmetic Chemists for the today's webinar titled Sustainable and Green Beauty. You're all aware about ISCC, but let me give you a gist of it. Indian Society of Cosmetic Chemists is a non-profit organization established in 2003 under the affiliation of International Federation of Societies of Cosmetic Chemists, which is also known as IFSC. ISCC was founded with a view to promote research and knowledge of the cosmetic sciences and personal care in India. And ISCC members are drawn from academics, R&D, consultancy, publications, manufacturers, and packaging and raw material suppliers across India. And the associate conducts various workshops and training programs in different areas of cosmetics with the aim of providing latest technologies to members and thus increasing their professional competence. Talking about today's webinar, Sustainable Green Beauty, typically the term green and sustainable cosmetics are defined as cosmetic products using natural ingredients produced from renewable raw materials. But the most intuitive definition of a green cosmetics is its association with environmental friendliness and organic or natural components. However, there is no set boundary in what green truly constitutes. Are there set concentration limits? Or do green products indicate there is specific environmentally friendly packaging? How many of these environmentally friendly features are necessary for a product to be green? So come, let's understand these facts from our experts in various aspects of beauty industry. And to do this, I would like to invite and introduce upon our moderator for today, Ms. Sandhya Chipalgatti. Sandhya is a media entrepreneur with a long and successful career spanning 25 years in the beauty, spa, and wellness industry. She is the founder, editor, and publisher of India's most reputed trade magazines like Style Speak, Spa Mantra, and Glam Star. She has worked closely with industry experts and brands, and her years of experience in the industry helped the magazines gain global recognition. Sandhya is also a founder member and governing board member of the Indian Society of Cosmetic Chemists. She has been a speaker on several international conferences, a jury member on industry awards too. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sandhya.
Thank you so much, Indra, for that introduction. It is my pleasure to be your moderator for today. So welcome to all our delegates. We have over 270 registered delegates today, which just shows how much of interest there is in this topic. The purpose of this ISCC webinar is to discuss current developments in natural, sustainable cosmetics, and also to clarify what natural or green straddles and defines. Today, brands are facing many questions from increasingly aware customers, both on the products that they buy and the products they use. This poses a very big challenge for both formulators and marketing teams alike. The topic has gained much significance globally, and we have a fantastic panel today to answer these issues. So please let me welcome my panelists. I'd like to start with Dr. Aruna Siri Idam Malgoda. I hope I've pronounced your surname properly, Aruna. He is a corporate executive director of Ichimaru Arcos Company Limited in Japan. He joined Ichimaru Farcos in 2001 and is the first non-Japanese to attain the title of corporate executive director. Prior to this promotion, he served as director R&D. A bachelor in veterinary medicine from Bangalore, he did his master's and doctorate in agricultural science from Gifu University, Japan. His research has focused on skin aging, skin pigmentation, and inflammation. He is regarded as an expert in medicinal herbs and plant-based cosmetic ingredient development. Among his many honors, has received the Japanese Society of Promotion of Science Award for postdoctoral studies. He is a member of several academic societies around the world. Please welcome Dr. Aruna Siri. Dr.
Thank you for
Hema
introduction.
Sharma Datta. Welcome, Aruna. Dr. Hema Sharma Datta is the head of personal care, mother and baby care, botanic R&D at Himalaya Drug Company. She is an MTech in cosmeceutical technology and a doctorate in health sciences from Pune University. She has over 20 years of experience in formulation and development of FMCG products and herbal, Ayurvedic, and organic products, and has worked previously with companies like FEM, Dabur, Imami, and Zydus Canada. She has been a gold medalist and has won several awards for her expertise. Her scientific publications appear in several international journals. She is also a member of the Board of Studies for Science and Technology at Nagpur University. Multifaceted, she is a published writer and poet, an adventurer who has made many expeditions to Antarctica, and a spiritual seeker. Welcome, Dr. Hema.
Thank you so much, Sandhya, for the beautiful introduction.
Coming to Pauline Raffiton.
Perfect.
I practiced. Pauline is a home and personal care business unit manager of EcoCert France. She has studied chemistry and agrochemistry and has a doctorate in environmental impact of waste management in collaboration with French Environment Agency, ADME. Pauline joined EcoCert in 2008 to work on certification of natural and organic cosmetics. Over the last 10 years, she has developed solid expertise on natural and organic market and develops these two sectors of activities worldwide in her current role. She is on board of Cosmos and is working for the recognition of natural and organic cosmetics certification in order to give guarantees to consumers and to promote sustainable practices. Welcome to the webinar, Pauline.
Thank you so much, Sanya. I'm really pleased to be with you today.
It's wonderful to have you too. Very early in the morning for you.
Yeah.
And our last panelist is Shankar Prasad, who is the founder and director of Pure Play Skin Sciences India Private Limited. Shankar has around 22 years of working experience across consumer goods, consulting, and financial services. He is a chemical engineer from IIT Bombay, and his first love is still science and technology. After 8 years at Hindustan Unilever Limited, working in manufacturing and product development, Shankar completed his MBA from Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, where he was a gold medalist. After MBA, he served as a management consultant at McKinsey & Company for 2 years and subsequently as Executive Director Operations at Everstone Capital, a leading India-focused growth stage PE fund. Besides work, Shankar loves music. He's a trained classical musician, catching up on science television and spending time with his family. Welcome to the webinar, Shankar.
Thank you, Sandhya. Pleased to be here.
So, shall we, before we begin our panel discussion, I'd like all the delegates to keep a few points in mind. Your mics will be muted throughout the webinar, but you may use the chat box for communication. Please post all your questions in the chat box named Renuka, and they will be taken up for Q&A at the end of the session. And it is possible that we may not be able to address all questions in the given time today, but we will definitely revert to you with all the answers subsequently. Shall we begin? Shankar, I'd like to start with you. We would like you to speak on your experience as a brand creator and owner, and specifically about why you chose your brand to be vegan.
Right. So for us, the central philosophy of what we want Plum to stand for, now we have more brands in this table, which is Body 11 and 5. The philosophy of central to our existence as a brand and as companies is goodness. So we started off with be good as a brand credo, and we define our purpose as adding goodness to people's lives. So when it came to formulating, it became immediately apparent that this whole thought of being good has to reflect in how we formulate, how we choose to sort of make things in the most, let's say, for any living being with feelings, we just have to be nice to it. And that was the simple thought underlying this whole thing about being vegan. And when we started out, let's say 6 or 7 years back, vegan was not a very well-known concept, even in food, forget about cosmetics. So as sort of people are going on this journey towards sustainability, which is one of the very reasons why we're having this webinar in the first place, veganism was one of the initial sort of milestones in this journey towards sustainability. And I think it was just the time and the place of us starting out and of having goodness as our core philosophy that led to vegan as our core proposition. What we've also done over a period of time is layered it on with sustainability when it comes to plastics and sourcing, which we'll talk about later. But to answer your question, it started with goodness as the core and sustainability as the end goal rather. And in that journey, vegan is a milestone towards that journey.
Thank you so much. Sustainability is very, very important today. And this is something that we will talk about subsequently, because
Right.
it is a question, it is a topic which is not necessarily understood by a lot of people, especially consumers. So, Dr. Aruna Siri, I would like to come to you and would like you to talk about what are the latest trends in green and sustainable beauty products in Asia.
Okay, thank you, Sandhya. So I would like to thank ISCC for selecting me as a panelist from Japan. So before coming to your topic, I just want to say a few words about green and sustainability, because our world today is challenged by disrupting ecosystems with concern how to utilize environment and the natural resources for accelerating industries in a more ethical way. So usually this word sustainable often bundled with word sustainability is the concept of sustainable development, which was initially put forward by what I first hear these words from the United Nations. So then there was many classical definitions came later on. So usually basically they say it meets the need of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So based on this, our industry, so the more consumers start to restrict their purchasing behaviors to more socially and environmentally responsible consumption that saves, we call eco-friendly. So sustainability has become a source of the competitive advantage for business and open the opportunity for innovation. So this is for me as an ingredient research company. So we are looking at from that angle how to cooperate with this demand. So research on sustainability has focused on sustainable development. It depends on the different industries, but as a cosmetic industry, so we have each different position, ingredient company or the final manufacturing company. So for industry, as an example, we try to answer the question of how companies can better compete with the market with their sustainable innovation by focusing on challenges. So coming to your question, so latest green and sustainable beauty products. So sustainable beauty these days goes way beyond just packaging. Earlier, when we start thinking that it's only focusing on packaging, but it covers every step now in the product life cycle. So with respect to the cosmetic, green and sustainable cosmetics are defined as cosmetic product using a natural ingredient produced from the renewable raw material. This is the one main focus for us as an ingredient company. So as an ingredient company, we are getting more inquiries right now on ingredient sourcing, especially traceability and transparency. Although usually the Asia always coming late for this kind of concept, but but it's not sophisticated as the US, EU, or the Australia when it comes to the awareness of sustainable issues. But it is just a matter of time for Asia. So usually when you talk about the green, so a lot of our customers, everybody thinking green means safe, healthy, and of course, so we evidence-based cosmetics ingredient company, so we usually focus on efficacy. So more than ever before, even the consumers are interested in the process of cosmetic ingredient or the product development when we see the responses. So as public interest, the sustainability clients, many cosmetic manufacturers seeking more natural, environmentally friendly ingredients for their product, which putting pressure on us. But the field of green cosmetics still needs a clarification. Typically, this term is used in the different way by product using usually the environmental friendly formulations, what I felt. So in the current market trend, the word green has become synonymous with organic and healthy. So when consumers see the phrase green cosmetics, so they will automatically, thinking like eco-friendly assumption. But it will slowly, even in Japan, this concept is increasing right now. So this situation gave an opportunity to the third party setting because so people can claim, but who is going to check the watchdog? So that's why the organic today polling is there to talk about cosmos, but because of this third party, it's give the trust to the consumers. No? So in countries like Japan, the official recognition of beauty from outside, beauty from inside out. So this means the beauty supplement is a huge market. So sometimes some people try to argue, so you cannot claim cosmetic even the topically having a function, but even though that is a situation, but in Japan, so we have a new regulation for the food, beauty food items, which you can claim up to certain extent. So this is a huge, getting the huge market, but using these green sustainable ingredients, what we are producing, so we are trying to develop new biology. So this is for us, science is very important. So we go for like what the demanding right now, anti-pollution or the skin lightening or targeting circadian rhythm or the clock gene or skin microbiome, microflora, anti-wrinkle, and we even doing research on green surfactant as cosmetic industry to the global industry. Over to Sandhya.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aruna. I think that you have given us a lot of ideas of where and what is being, what are the important points which are being considered under the whole umbrella of sustainability. But I'd like to come to you, Hema, and actually ask, consumers around the world are looking for clean, ethical, green products. As a formulator, what is your view on this?
Sure. Thank you for your question, Sandhya. And I would like the audience to look at some data when we and some surveys when we talk about this, and to understand what is the consumer saying about the BPC or the sustainable products in India. So generally the acronym that, the younger generation is quite used to using the short forms. So generally the short form that is used is ECG. That is the ethical, clean, green beauty, and that is used for the sustainable products. When we say BPC, it is beauty and personal care products. So if we look at, why this has come, obviously the background, some which Dr. Aruna has also given, that one is the increasing awareness about being more environmental friendly, putting less pollutants in the environment, and issues like deforestation and wastage of water. All this has driven this sustainability trend. Now, if we look at the clean beauty in Asia, I would say it is still at the very, very infancy stage, but it has made inroads. The expansion in body care with safety and eco claims, that is happening very fast. And there are affiliations which I guess we will subsequently see, that to claim something, what kind of certifications or affiliations you need from different bodies. That is also an upcoming trend in India. Now, when we talk of clean beauty, let us understand what all the consumer is expecting or what they are wanting to see on the label. So there are like a plethora of claims. However, the terminologies which they want to look at is natural, organic, non-toxic, or this is chemical free. These are, or green. The word green is very often used when we are talking about sustainability. So these are the common terminologies which the Indian consumer is wanting to see on the label. Now let us look at when there was a small survey which was done in about 3,000 Indians, what they have to say, that to them what a sustainable beauty product means. So majority of them said that there should not be any pollution or damage that is caused during production or during usage. And then there was a third group, I would say the majority three lines or the buckets of understanding was: first, it should not cause any pollution, it should not cause any damage to the environment, to the user, and then the kind of packaging that we use should be a sustainable packaging. Now, if we look at what is growing in the APAC region, I have considered what kind of claims. So I guess the free from claims are growing very fast. This is a comparative data of 15-16 to now 19-20, wherein the paraben-free kind of claims are growing, vegan claims are growing, eco-product, these claims are growing. So these are the major 6-7 claims which the Indian consumer is looking for. If we look at the complete APAC region, I guess India is still leading the way, and followed by Japan, and last in the list is Vietnam, but I'm proud to say that India is leading the way, and obviously there is a reason why it is leading the way, which we will again subsequently talk. But amongst all these claims, the organic claim is the highest, which is gaining momentum, because there are, I would say, more properly defined guidelines, certification bodies sitting, and the consumer has a reason to believe when they look at those logos and certifications. So organic claim is the is highest as on date. Now, if we look at our past culture, especially I'm talking now with respect to India, so sustainability was always a part of our culture. So this is not new to Indians. They always knew what is the home remedy or what are those food ingredients existing in their kitchen, which they have to use, and they have to take care of a particular skin or hair condition or their beauty needs. So this is what now they are expecting in the ready-made form when they look at the products on the shelf. And if we talk about where the inclination is today, we are including the cruelty-free claims, but there are very few people who connect cruelty-free and sustainability with each other. So that is one paradox that exists. But when we talk of product and package, obviously the biodegradability or recyclability, that is the the main driver, or I would say the main upcoming trend. As I said, organic brands, they are making inroads in the Indian market, and Indian entrepreneurs, they are creating organic beauty products which are safe for body, environment, and it is also helping the rural communities to build the sustainable livelihood. So when we talk of the word sustainable, it is actually covering all the areas. It's a big life cycle of the product that it covers, and a lot of expectations that it is covering. Ayurveda and native ingredients, they are becoming prominent when it comes to sustainability connect in India and now even outside India. And Indian beauty market, it will have more focus on the ingredient sources. As Indian government, it is driving more emphasis on the homegrown or the local produce. So we have that emphasis for being vocal for local. So with this connect of sustainability, those ingredients are rising. I mean, a formulator will first pick up those ingredients which has the Ayurvedic or the herbal connect, and is more coming, I guess, from the kitchen or from your food plate. What has been the key drivers in India, which I said why we are leading the way? Obviously, we are by 2024, India is going to be the most populous country. We are going to surpass China, that is predicted. So obviously the rising population, which is leading to high environmental stress, and now the growing awareness. Second is pollution is an all-time high, which out of, I guess, about 31 most polluted cities in India, about 24 are from India. So I guess that concern is also rising very fast. So people want to contribute in whatever way they can to protect the environment and to prevent pollution. Obviously, COVID-19, this pandemic has taught all of us, the moment we all were sitting at home, air has become cleaner, water has become cleaner, and we have more clean environment to live in. So everybody has understood the importance of the sustainability drive that is required. So there are some few points which I have put in as this pandemic being the reminder for sustainability. It has reminded all of us that we all are just a small part of this world. We are not the owners of this world. So we have to take care of the impact of the wastage, what it has on every species. We have to take care of the nature by reducing the pollution, and the beauty care. During this lockdown, people were able to take care of their personal care needs by picking ingredients from their kitchen. So futuristically, an Indian consumer is going to look for those ingredients from the kitchen. And I guess one of the points, we all understood how to run our life in the minimum expenses. So a very high cost product may not be something which an Indian consumer is looking for. So with all those certifications, claims, and sustainability drive, cost will remain a very, very important criteria for the products to sell in India. Again, I have some data, some charts wherein it shows how an Indian consumer interpret sustainability. So something which is more environmental friendly, and what will influence their buying decision when we talk of environmental friendly. So there are two types of consumers. One, they will pick up those products which are making environmental friendly claim, and second, a consumer who is loyal to his existing brand and they want their brand now to go to the next level and make some sustainable or environmental friendly claim. Now, coming to what do you understand? I guess so there we have come down, we have to go up. I guess the last two slides are missed out, but I guess I would like to wrap up. No, we have to go up, Sandhya. Still up, I guess. 2 slides up. Okay, I guess if it's not happening, it's fine. It's not happening. No, I guess this is not. No, I guess we have to still go up. I guess forget we, I mean, the emphasis of what the consumer, which a part of what Arunashri has also uh, covered, that transparency in information has to come. If you are claiming something, then the certification, those logos have to come. When we are disclosing what ingredients we have used, there should be a clarity of ingredients. Simplicity is another driver. There should not be very complex chemical names on the label which a consumer wants to see. And in India, they want to have a local connect with Ayurveda and obviously with the right cost. So I guess that's all from my side. Over to Sandhya.
Okay. I was not able to unmute myself. I'm sorry. Thank you, Hema. So thank you for that. That was really a very explanation of how Indian consumer views sustainability and Indian consumers' preferences. I think that a formulator will have his job, chalked out in keeping all these various points in mind. Of course, the Indian consumer has always been price conscious, but she has been also quality conscious. And so the formulator, the brand owner, the marketeer has to keep all these in mind while making an offering which will really be popular to the consumers at large. Of course, there's always a market for selective top-end products, but that is always a selective market. For the mass market, these are points which you have brought out, which are very, very important. So coming to the most important person, which is who controls the quality of all products, Pauline, I think maybe you would like to share with us your experiences as a certifying body in terms of green or natural products in India.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you for the speaker before me who have set this topic today. For sure, what we see globally is that there is more and more concern on having products which are which are environmentally friendly and that will be sustainable in order to protect our environment. And for the Indian market, we see that there is more and more demand also in natural and organic cosmetic products. But there is, since this market is not regulated, there is no clear guideline in terms of labels and claim. And thus, this market could be impacted by greenwashing and with the risk of consumer to be misled. So that's why it's really important, and that's why many companies are turning themselves to the certification. What we see, based on the number of products that we are certifying, that there is an immense potential in the Indian market. There have been a growth about 5 times since between 2015 and 2019 in the number of products certified, according either Cosmos Organic or Cosmos Natural. Indeed, we have 2 levels of certification, and which is the Cosmos Organic, where there is some requirements on the organic content, and then the Cosmos Natural, where there is many requirements on traceability, on quality, but not on the content of organic ingredients inside. And what we see on the Indian market is that the proportion between organic and natural is really, this is the organic one that the company are choosing. And I think this is also due to the history of this country, and because they are keen to find organic ingredients in their product. What we see as a certification body is that the way to move into the certification may be sometimes difficult for company, and that's why we offer also training and consultancy in order the people to move into this direction, and to be sure that they will have all the view of all the requirements necessary to become certified.
Thank you so much. And this is, of course, is it not necessary to be certified organic in India, to claim organic?
Indeed, for the cosmetic regulation, for cosmetics, there is no obligation right now to be certified in order to claim organic. And this is the same, I would say, in every country, or not all the country, but this is a trend which is the same globally, because there is not really no real regulation for organic cosmetic worldwide. There are regulation for organic food that protect the term organic for food in many countries worldwide, but for organic cosmetics, there are private standards such as Cosmos. There are some non-mandatory regulation in some countries that give a framework in order to use the word organic, but there is no obligation to be certified. But what we see is that more and more countries are developing a framework in order to be sure that the consumer will not be misled. And that's really important. And I think that Indian brands could also look at this trend, the major trend to say that if you claim something, you have to prove it in order to be sure that the consumer will trust you, because the certification is a trust tool indeed. It helps the consumer to be sure, I would say, that a third party has checked that the claims are really based on the reality and on the global traceability. So I think it's, even if it's not mandatory, I think that it's really important that each brand is responsible for the claim that they will use on their product. And one of the tools is the certification to give the trust to the consumer.
Right. Another question coming from yours is the labeling on the back of the pack. Does that list, like you say, the INCI labeling, or does it list the organic products?
Sorry, I didn't get the end of your question, but I will try to answer. So what is mandatory? I think this is in most of the country, the list of the entire list of the composition is mandatory in many countries, even if I think that in India it's not exactly the case for all the type of product. But as Cosmos, we require that every ingredient is listed on the product to be sure that the consumer will have the entire composition. And on the list of the ingredient, we will also ask the company to indicate which ingredients is from organic farming. And this is one of the key point of the certification, and it joined the topic of EMA, is that the transparency is really, really important for the consumer. Because if there is no transparency, there could be some doubt about the composition. There could be some risk also in terms of health. So it's really important to have this extensive disclosure of all the ingredients.
Thank you. So, Dr. Aruna, I'd like to ask you the next question is, how are global companies changing the natural ingredient selection, and what are the challenges that you face in that?
So I was just listening to polling that she was telling there was no regulation issues depend on the countries for organic. But for the ingredient companies who want to, the final manufacturer who want to certify as a cosmetic or the different external certification, so they ask us to make sure that ingredients are certified, send it to. So with respect to the cosmetic industry, so green, sustainable cosmetics. So this usually they define cosmetic product using natural ingredient produced from the renewable raw material. So the composition and the ingredient selection of each, the company or the each brands reflect. So how the effect on the skin. So we talk about image or this sustainability and this one, but still people want to have a good efficacy on the skin. So the selecting the right ingredient can be challenging, under this condition. So because the safety and the function of each ingredient, the formulation stability with the formulators always looking for. So and then the consumer preference. So all these properties have to be taken into account, to make a successful brand or the successful product. So at this moment, there's a great need to substitute the regular ingredients. So because we as an ingredient company, old company, so since there's no standard, so we have been having a huge lineup of ingredients until the sustainability green chemistry come into the existence. So because of that, so we have to do a lot of sustainable standards, even for the old products, which is 20, 30 years ago, which is in the market. So this is the greatest challenge and for the ingredient company. But so we found several alternatives way to achieve this goal. So green and sustainable ingredient development for the future can approach in a different way. For example, like company like us, which has over 800, 900 plant ingredients. So making them traceable, sustainable is the biggest challenge. So however, we are doing all efforts to make them traceable, but it may take time. However, the global sustainable development, this pressure influence us to find hundreds of traceable sustainable resources to develop our natural ingredient to support the current trends in the market. So usually the key component of ingredient development process for us, the main things, one is a natural raw material, other one solvent. So there is a limited number of solvents. So we have to utilize them to make the product 100% natural. So there is an increase in replacement. For example, like, so we use a lot of, glycols. And so now there are plant-derived glycols, which we say sustainable. It's kind of a green chemistry, So people came up with the replacement, then plant-derived ethanol and glycerin. So these are the solvents are the key DNA for many, product development. And also came from the Europe. I don't know how is in India. This is recently though. It's a severe pressure for us. So many companies asking, ISO 16128. So we have to give natural and organic index for each ingredient. So then increase the number of coming from the global cosmetic company regarding, of course, the Cosmos certification and organic certification, and a lot of inquiries on every day, many inquiries on traceability of so much products. So next come again the inquiry on the CSR credential for suppliers. So then you have to involve agencies like EcoBuddies and who provide the CSR business sustainable ratio and these certificates. So we are right now just EcoBuddies silver. So you try to make more sustainable and get it to the gold to appeal to the global, the manufacturers. Anyway, ingredient companies, generally we depend on suppliers of plant material locally and globally. So we continue to increase the plant cultivation with partner farmers locally and globally to obtain, traceable high quality ingredient, which will help us to find the good ingredient, because our core area is evidence-based cosmetic ingredient development and a lot of science involving. So we need a good quality, sustainable ingredient for our future biology research. Over to Sandhya.
So I would like to ask you, what your thoughts on bioengineered ingredients are?
Yes, this is the this is very important. No? So it is a one part of the sustainable, because when you have very important raw material, which is the rare plants or rare ingredients. So when you do the bioengineering using the bacteria or for example, the stem cell cultures. So there are many bioengineered technology come into the existence. For example, like hyaluronic acid, the most important one of the moisturizer earlier. So it developed from the animal ingredient, no? So they developed from the chicken comb. But right now there are products, bioengineered hyaluronic acid. So this is the way. There are a lot of things. No, still the huge market which we can shift. But there are maybe molecules you cannot use for bioengineering. But there are molecules which you can shift to the bioengineering. No?
Thank you, thank you. That's a big question which can be a separate topic by itself. Shankar, coming to you. We have heard so much about what the consumer wants, what the consumer looks for, but how aware or knowledgeable is the Indian consumer actually? And when they ask for something, does it come from knowledge, or does it come from a trend, a hearsay? Because, for example, what is their perception of green or sustainable? Some of it, of course, Dr. Hema has already talked about.
Yeah.
And as a brand, how do you fulfill that need of this consumer?
Right. As I mentioned in the beginning, true sustainability is a journey. Right? I don't think any of us, including ourselves, can claim to be 100% sustainable, because to me, the true definition of sustainability is you're putting back more than you're taking. And very few businesses today can stand up and say, I'm putting back more than we're taking. We're all taking. So where we're moving towards is put back more and more, take less and less. That's where we're going. So we're just balancing that equation out and trying to make it a net positive. However, what I feel is that in India particularly, I'm speaking here about the Indian context, the awareness of sustainability has gone up. However, the nuance is a little lost on people. So people, it tends to come in waves. So suddenly people were talking about, if you remember, plastic bags, like what, year and a half, 2 years ago, and it became like a huge thing. It was almost a movement. Unfortunately, COVID has taken that whole thing back by a couple of steps. Nowadays, nobody talks about it. So suddenly it's about plastics in the sea. Suddenly it's about plastic bags.
Right.
Suddenly it's about, labor not being used in the most compliant of ways. So there seems to be sort of waves of thoughts going on with no coherent, concerted, let's say, understanding of what true sustainability means. And it's a little bit of a struggle, frankly speaking. So suddenly people have started, asking if even the most basic of raw materials, like, IFRA compliant fragrances or essential oils or acrylate polymers or CAPB, these are all ingredients which, where the safety is proven beyond doubt. But what happens in the age of social media, and with due respect, some of them end up becoming armchair enthusiasts or scientists with a few Google and a few YouTube videos uh, up their sleeve. There's a lot of people who tend to, without testing products out, without understanding how ingredient A can interact with ingredient B, end up drawing conclusions about what is green, what is not green, what is safe, what is not safe, what is sustainable, what is not sustainable. So that's sort of the downside of this whole information revolution that's happening. The upside of the information revolution, which is a good thing, I would say, is that the awareness has gone up, as I said. Secondly, dialogues are happening. So there are people who write into us saying, I am not sure why you're doing this. I mean, you claim to be vegan and sustainable, friendly and all of that. On what basis are you doing this? And we reply to at least 3 or 4 such queries in a week, wherein people have doubts about either the safety or the sustainability of the ingredient or the packaging that we are using. I am not sure what will lead to sort of, if I can use the word, unified common platform understanding of what sustainability is like in the cosmetic industry, because as we discussed in the sort of lead up to this question, there are lots of aspects to sustainability, like where the ingredient is sourced from, how it is manufactured, where does it go after usage, what is the packaging being used, and so on. So there's a lot of nuances and there's a lot of detail when it comes to understanding sustainability in cosmetics. In food, it is a little bit easier because they are mostly single ingredient basic food that we're talking about, but in cosmetics, the chemistry of it somewhat confuses people, and people tend to use Google as a way to overcome that confusion in the most simplistic of ways, and that's not always leading to correct conclusions being drawn. That's the sort of that's where we stand, and therefore, if I have to summarize, I would say awareness is very high. However, the details of it still need to be thrashed out in people's heads, and we are quite some way away from it. But compared to, let's say, 5 years back to now, I mean, the sheer percentage of people who are aware and are talking about it, it's a quantum jump that we've seen.
So as a brand, no brand today can afford to ignore it, right?
No, we are not in India. At least we are not there yet.
You're not there yet.
I think brands can easily see India. We are still in a what's in it for me market, if I can call it that, and we have not yet come out of that zone. So even the ones who are, the leaders in sustainability within their social circles, would at the end of the day, given a choice between a sustainable product that does not work and a not so sustainable product that works, I'm not sure that choice is automatic. It's when you have to make these tough choices that what you stand for becomes really important, right? And when that comes into question, I'm not sure which one people are going to choose. People are okay as long as it works. That's where we stand today. Is that the right thing for the world at large? I don't think so. We definitely do need to think about the impact that our choices have on others and on the environment. But as a body of consumers, we are still some way away. We've started on the journey, but we have a very, very long way to go.
Yeah, I guess it needs a lot of public discourse. And I think it needs also a lot of publicity at large. I mean, you open a newspaper and who's talking sustainability? It's not really a word which is on anybody's horizon at all. And like you said, if at all it was there, then COVID-19 has washed it out completely,
Right.
with the amount of garbage we have produced in the last 7-8 months.
Yeah.
Enough for filling many landfills.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
when it comes to survival, right? I mean, nobody can say that survival is not important. This COVID has been about survival of individuals and of businesses, and there is absolutely no two ways about it.
True.
So that's how it is. But I guess as Nandan Nilekani was saying, one thing that COVID has done is increase the respect for science among people. So a lot of people have started to value science a lot more than what they used to, which is one of the unintended positive consequences of COVID.
True. So there was a fear also in the beauty services industry that people may completely forget what going to visiting a salon for professional services is. But to their happiness, they've realized that people have come back with much heightened respect of all the services that they missed out on during the lockdown. And so I think that the beauty as a business is definitely going to grow and is going to be unaffected by all ups and downs. So coming to you, Hema, what about formulation challenges that you face when you are actually formulating with sustainable ingredients in India?
Yes, Sandhya. So by nature, as I always like to go by facts and data and practicality. And I guess whatever opinions we have, I would still say that COVID reminded all of us that we need to take care of nature. So even the sustainability drive that was there, I would say pre-COVID, now that we are coming back to our usual routine, people have become conscious. And one thing which the industry has realized that going forward, we cannot disconnect ourselves from what the consumer is looking for, or as our social responsibility, what is it that we have to do for the nature or for the community. So in fact, I would say the sustainability drive has now, the speed has taken up. I mean, if we were thinking of doing something 2 years down the line, people are now worried about the oceanic plastics. They are more worried about the litters that we create on the beach. And yes, packaging was the first focus, but now even the focus on the ingredients has, the pace has gone up. We have not left this for future or 2 years or 3 years down the line. So I would say as an industry, people have realized their responsibility where they have to move next. Now, coming to the particular question on formulation, I want to put some practical facts and challenges which comes to a formulator. First, let us understand when a formulator says that I'm going to make a sustainable product or an ethical or a clean or green product. One thing which we should agree is this is far from easy. We are committing to make something which will not be very easy. And what are the reasons? The reasons being we want to have the same sensorials, aesthetics, efficacy, and cost expectations of their synthetic counterparts, but we want to have the goodness of naturals while meeting the shelf life expectations of, again, approximately 2 to 3 years, what a cosmetic product has to meet. And we don't want to compromise. I mean, obviously, there is no room to compromise on the regulatory and safety aspects. So if we list down what all we are expecting out of formulating a sustainable product, it's a huge list. So it is the starting itself. I'm not discouraging, but a fact that it's far from easy. Second is the moment we decide to do this, the formulation options are almost, I would say, reduced to only, it's a minuscule of the options which are otherwise available. It's a very limited options what you have when you're formulating. If we look at the NK dictionary today, there are about 22,000 different chemicals which are listed. So when we talk of using something which should be or which will be considered as natural, it reduces down only to 10% of this total list. So we can understand where we are entering. In the beginning itself, we are narrowing down our options of what we can experiment with. Now, bigger challenges that, especially with respect to India, I would say, when it is kept on the shelf, this sustainable beauty product or a clean green beauty product has to still compete with a counterpart of theirs which doesn't have these restrictions. Because there are companies, I guess one of the speakers talked about this, that when it comes to efficacy, obviously there is no compromise. So if there is a balance to be drawn between efficacy and sustainability, probably efficacy will take the precedence. And when we are talking of the sustainable beauty products, they have to compete with these kind of products on the shelf. Now, the three things which a formulator has to balance, first is the consumer will never compromise on the performance. That's the first thing. Second, the marketers, they don't want to compromise on the cost. And third is the regulators, they will not compromise on the process. So you can understand what kind of challenge in the beginning itself, even before you're beginning the journey, a formulator is facing, and a formulator has to balance all these three things. Something which we call as, when we start making the blueprint, there is something called as LCA, that is the life cycle analysis of a product, which will include from where you are sourcing your ingredients, how those ingredients have been used, to what kind of extraction processes have been used, to make the final active. Then what will be your production processes? How much of carbon footprint, how much of heat energy, how much of water you will be using. Third will come to the packaging material, whether it is recyclable, you have reduced the amount of plastic usage, or it is biodegradable. So even if it goes in landfill, if it is biodegradable, yes, I mean, that is, I would say, the positive streak to the packaging stream. Then even the distribution, how much of travel or how much of logistics is involved, how many times in a month the vehicle is moving to distribute all this. And finally comes the consumer usage and post usage. So while you're using, the consumer safety, I mean, that is of preliminary importance. Apart from efficacy, it has to be safe for usage. And when you finally flush it out in the environment, it has to be safe. I mean, it should be safe for the aquatic animals, for the air, and for the soil. So I guess this life cycle analysis is to be done to create the blueprint of your formulation. Now, coming to the actual, I would say, bench work. When you are choosing the ingredients, how will you choose the ingredients? As I said, first is what we eat. If that is seen on the back of the pack at the label, that is more convincing. If I am seeing, milk, cream, flaxseed oil, these kind of ingredients, I'm more convinced about the naturality of the product, rather than seeing some complex chemical names which a consumer really doesn't connect. Second is less water usage, which has to happen. So our production processes or our manufacturing processes should have very, very less steps. There are less amount of, rinsing of the vessels and the changeovers. One of the major challenges which remain is the storage and expiration of these natural ingredients, because they will use certain processes which are more sustainable. One of the examples, we have different specifications of the oils in the market today. So you have refined oils, you have deodorized oils, you have bleached oils, and then you have cold pressed oils. So no matter how beneficial a cold pressed oil is, but look at the other side or the flip side, the storage, expiration, stability when it goes in a product, all these remains a challenge for the formulator. So the specification plays a very, very important role. Second is you have to benchmark the history of the usage of that ingredient, if there is some mention of its usage. And if there is, if it's completely unknown, or it's a new ingredient, or there is no data, as we talked about the bioengineered products, we don't have any background of it, then there is a lot of exploration work which is to be done about the interaction of these natural ingredients with the known synthetic conventional ingredients that we are going to use. So this combination, when we are using, this remains a very big field for a chemistry person, or for chemical analysis, and for stability. This has to be very carefully studied, and what finally, in terms of safety and efficacy, what it is going to do on the skin and hair, I guess all this has to be well established before we enter the market. Safety assurance, as we talked about, and the transparency, I guess today the finished product industry is actually depending a lot on the raw material suppliers. So we look forward to the raw material suppliers to give us all the details. What was their starting material? What is the process that they have used? And apart from the main ingredient which they are claiming, or the INCI name, are there other ingredients which are present? I mean, there are small minuscule ingredients which are present, which generally are associated in the so-called MSDS of the raw material. So a complete transparency on that front is required. And what are the possible level of impurities that might be present? So I would say a clear chemical and impurity profiling is very, very important when we talk, and a clarity on when we talk of biodegradability, how much time it will take, if whether this is going to lead to bioaccumulation, that kind of insight, and will it cause any aquatic toxicity. So all this obviously at an affordable cost, which I have been emphasizing since the very beginning, because finally the consumer should be able to buy all that goodness that we are trying to give. So some very quick, I guess, thumb rules which I would like to give to the viewers, and the audience who are there in this discussion today. One is, there are some 8-9 categories which I have put in, and the probable substitutes which can be used to arrive at a natural, or as I call the ECG products. So one is for petrochemical hydrocarbons. Obviously, the shift is going more towards vegetables, oils, butters, and waxes. Again, what are the challenges that you can face? The challenges on oxidation, spreadability, glossiness, absorption, occlusion. All these will be the expectations which a formulator has to fulfill. Second, coming to silicones, I guess that is another thing which is in talk. Okay, thank you for sharing this. I guess we can go to slide number 5. And it can be visible to everyone. It says substitution, yes. So when we talk of silicones, I guess today the coconut alkanes are, no, I guess this is fine. We can just go up a bit. The slide saying 8 number substitution. Yes. So I guess when we talk of silicones, obviously the expectation is a non-greasy feel, more of inertness, water-resistant films, viscosity, volatility. Now, all this has to be obtained when we are using a silicone substitute. Plastic microbeads, I guess we have been able to achieve, the industry has been able to make a very quick shift on this particular aspect, where we have started using the shell powders, the barks, and the seed powders. However, the uniform shape of these powders and the microbial load, that remains a challenge. Coming to the surfactants, obviously the shift from sulfates and the ethoxylated ones, the shift is happening to saponins, and surfactant is a very big category, right? From the solubilizers to the emulsifiers to detergents to foaming agents. So it's that will require probably a separate discussion to cover this whole topic, but I have just tried to touch the main points, that the shift from sulfates or ethoxylated components, when we go to saponins or glucose esters or olive esters, these are the most commonly used ones. Now here, foam value, the cleansing effect, all this, emulsion stability, all this remains a challenge. Coming to thickeners and rheology modifiers, we have carbomers and the silicon polymers, which are fast being replaced with gums and cellulose derivatives. Again, the flow properties, the stabilizing effect, and the application field during and post usage, that remains a concern here. Coming to the additives, let's come to the colorants. Colorants, again, they are petrochemical based, and we have vegetable based and mineral based options today, but there are certain concerns like light, heat, pH stability, which remains a challenge for the formulator today. Another important aspect is fragrances. Now, the synthetic petroleum-based fragrances, which are majorly used, people want to see, instead of the word written as fragrance, today people want to see that there is a disclosure on that as well. What does the fragrance contain? What kind of solvents? What kind of components? And today, preferably, instead of the word fragrance, they want to see the essential oils, that this has lavender oil, this has lemongrass oil. So that oil gives them the connect that this is not a mix of synthetics. However, a bigger concern there is today, many contact dermatitis events or inflammation or allergies are being caused because of fragrances. Now, when we go towards the natural side, it's a bit difficult to control these kind of skin reactions. Another two additive classes, preservatives, parabens and formaldehyde donors. As I had shown in one of the previous slides, paraben-free claim are rising very fast. People want to see that all their products, and especially the baby products, should be free from formaldehyde donors. So the shift is happening towards food preservatives like sorbates and benzoates. And also some support is coming by redefining or redesigning your formats. So anhydrous formats are taking a precedence, where you have the bar formats or the powder formats, and sometimes by altering the pH also. If you have high alkaline pH, I guess that doesn't require any preservative. So with these kind of steps, you can take care of the preservative aspects. Coming to antioxidants, obviously from BHA, BHT, I guess the shift from vitamin E and C has happened widely, and it has been adopted and well accepted by the industry. But again, the heat stability and solubility in certain formats, that remains the concern. Now, the last few tips or few things which we need to remember if we truly want to stick to a sustainable product. First, if our processing can be more towards cold processing, if we can have emulsions which doesn't require heating, cooling steps, then obviously you can save a lot of energy. Again, the challenge there will be that you'll get restricted to the liquids, and you have to have readily soluble ingredients. Then the low water formats, which I talked about, powders and bars. And one thing which, Sandhya, I would like to share with you, even the spa, they have now graduated themselves to the next step, where they have started using the anhydrous formats. Something like anhydrous manicures and pedicures. So I guess even they are rising to the occasion. And then I guess the few other things, fusion chemistry and responsible usage of the products. I guess all these things a formulator has to take care, and the challenges are to be side by side attended. I guess that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Hema. That was really comprehensive. Pauline, what according to you is the biggest hurdle that formulators face in getting their products certified?
So the certification of Cosmos is a holistic approach, and that requires a solid quality system and also an important level of traceability. And all the requirements of Cosmos are available on our website. But what we see in emerging countries where the market is not as mature as in Europe, as an example, is that the key issues are related to raw material supply chain and on formulation challenges. And if we look at the feedbacks from Indian clients, there are the challenges that they are facing are within this framework. Indeed, the first one that they have talked to us is about there are not many operators providing such ingredients, and also because the market is not really organized is not organized enough in order to connect buyers and sellers. So this is one important point. And sometimes for companies who have to sell a low quantity of one ingredient, it can be difficult for them to find a supplier that could provide them this quantity. Then the other point, which is really important and which is a difficulty for the Indian cosmetic manufacturer, is the import of ingredient and the corresponding prices. Indeed, as some ingredients are not readily available in India, manufacturer needs to import ingredients, and then there could be some difficulties in terms of pricing and in terms of availability of such ingredient to be imported. And finally, another point that is shared with us too is the difficulty in terms of formulation. Indeed, as India has many climate zones, the companies are trying to develop products that could be designed to struggle to any that would fit to all the type of climate in India. And this is also a real formulation challenges in order to be able to develop such product. So there is a wide range of opportunities, I would say, in India, namely for manufacturers of raw material, I think, in order to allow more and more companies to be able to formulate. And what we see on the global market is that the organic, natural and organic cosmetic are more and more formulated and are more and more competitive with the conventional cosmetic because raw material are available. So the raw material is a key point. And I would like to share with you the numbers of raw material that are already validated according to Cosmos. We are around 16,000 raw material that are either approved from natural origin or certified according to with an organic content. So that means that there are many, there have been many development of raw materials since the past 3 years, so that companies have more and more possibility in order to formulate. And I've seen also there was the question related to perfume, and for sure this is one of the key points of the cosmetic industry. And we have also developed a specific offer for perfumers so that they can be directly in contract with Ecosat, as an example, to be able to us to check the entire composition of the cosmetic perfume, so that we can say that the perfume is compliant. So using natural ingredients, biotechnological ingredients, and also some organic ingredients such as essential oil, they are able now to provide really nice perfume. So that, because we know that this is one of the major I would say request from the consumer to have a nice product with a nice perfume.
Right. Thank you so much, Pauline. There are questions which are coming from the audience, and you have just answered one regarding the perfume. And we'll come back to that again later. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'd like to ask Shankar, how do you market a natural or green product in India? And secondly, what is your challenge in differentiating yourself from others?
Yeah, very, and they're like $1 million questions for us. So if I knew the perfect answer to this, you know, I'll be in a
You'll be
much
very,
better.
very rich.
Right. But to synthesize, since we're running out of time, I would say differentiation is difficult. It's getting increasingly difficult because, again, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of interchangeable terms with fuzzy meanings being thrown around, and it's very difficult in the absence of a certification, as I discussed in the beginning. It's difficult to say this is A and this is B, and this is kosher and this is not. So it's very difficult to call out oneself as being absolutely green or absolutely organic or whatever in this market. Having said that, I think brands like us need to think about being customer centric. I know it's very cliche to say that, but really think about where the customer is going with their needs and their wants, and be transparent about who we are and what we do. Any amount of fakeness can take us some distance, but it won't take take us too far. So it may be the speedy road to growth, but it's not a sustainable road to growth. So being transparent, being sort of clean with customers and clear with customers, this is what it is, this is what it is not. Engaging in a dialogue which social media facilitates so beautifully. I think those are our ways to sort of engage with our customers and stand out in the market. And the good news at the end of all of this is there is enough growing appetite for clean beauty, as you can call it, and that is, and there's enough going around for everybody to have. So it's not a winner take all market ever. It's never ever going to be that. There's always going to be a long tail of brands out there. So it's really about enjoying the space that one is in and having those conversations with that customer, building those communities and engaging with them rather than trying to go one up, because technology is always going to catch up. So you can't ever be perpetually one up on someone else. That's how I would put it. It's really about having those conversations with customers and being real.
So, yeah, sorry, I just lost the network for a fraction. Shankar, so coming back to what you were saying, is there a watchdog which sees what claim you are making?
So there are watchdogs. I won't call it a watchdog. There are entities at various levels which monitor. There is of course the FDA at the manufacturing level, but their oversight on claims is partial. I would say. When I say partial, it's not complete. It's incomplete, I would say. So they really, and it varies hugely between district to district, not even state to state, as to what they see and what they don't. Then there is ISCC, which is, when it comes to advertising and claims, that's sort of a self-governed body of advertisers and Advertising Standards Council of India, ISCC. So if there are any misleading claims, they can either suo moto take cognizance of it, or if someone raises a complaint, then the brands are asked to explain on what basis they are making those claims. For imported cosmetics, there is Drugs Controller General of India for import registration, but that's again very formulation driven, not so much claims driven. When it comes to claims, I think we are sort of in a fluid zone. There is no one overall authority validating or checking those claims and sort of governing the rules by which people claim by. So it's sort of a wide area right now.
Okay. That could also be one more reason why the amorphous space.
Correct.
The fact that there is no watchdog, that there is Indians are not as evolved, need still a lot of education to understand what to expect when they are asking for green or sustainable. So coming to you, Hema, how does a consumer understand, how authentic a product is, and what kind of, certifications, given the number of certifying bodies that there are globally, and given that certifications are well not to make a claim, can you please explain what you would do in this regard?
Yeah, I will. Again, as I said, let's look at the practicality. What happens when you want to claim certain things? What kind of certifications come in? What kind of logos will come in? What is it that you want to tell the consumer and what the consumer will understand? So let us first understand, when we talk of a certification, it is basically a quality assurance initiative, and it is based on set standards and ethics. And this is basically to prevent the fraud and to promote commerce. So the moment you are going for any claim and there is an associated certifying body, the chances of anybody speaking or making a false claim, I guess that all goes away. Now, why this is required? As we said, it's more of a third-party assurance from producer to the consumer. And then it's an effective marketing tool. The word which they are using these days is green marketing, for image, credibility, visibility, and transparency, and a uniformity of label. Today, you see so many labels with so many terminologies, so many logos. Finally, it should not it should not confuse the consumer, and it should not leave the consumer, confused between the different logos which they see. So if we talk about what certifications for cosmetic products, as we already talked, plethora of certifications are available, right from ingredients to processes to quality to environment, because the word sustainability itself, it has a different definitions which are popping up, and it is connected to different streams when we talk on the product. So again, there will be a lot of certifications when you want to make a claim. But majority claim today, again, they are majorly about naturals, organic, vegan, cruelty-free, and eco-friendly. So there is a set of logos that I have put, and I guess as the time is short, I'll be quickly running through these. There is these, and maybe this might be available to the viewers later also, so they can have a look at these are the different labels of different logos which are available in different countries. So on the extreme left, which you see as USDA organic, and on the extreme right, which you see Cosmos organic or Cosmos natural. And then I have tried to comprehensively put as many logos as possible in different parts of the world. When we say, are the certifications really necessary to make the claim? The answer is yes. If you are talking something about your product or your processes or what good it is doing to the nature or to you, you have to have a certification from a relevant body. Now, the requirements will vary from country to country, and it will involve a different set of rules for standards for growing, storage, processing, packaging, and shipping. But whichever part of the world you are, you should be abiding by those certifications which support your claim. Now, in some countries, the certifications are overseen by the government, and the commercial use of the term organic is legally restricted. However, in other countries, this is handled by the non-profit organizations, and somewhere even by the private companies. So again, as I said, in which part of the world you are residing, you have to decide your terminologies which you use for claiming something, the logos and the certifying bodies. Now, the recent standard which has come for harmonizing the term natural and naturally derived is the ISO 16128. This is the international standard which has come in September 2017. And I guess this is a very clear guideline which can be followed by the industry to understand what is natural and what is naturally derived and what is naturality index when they want to talk on the label or when they want to communicate to talk how sustainable their product is. Now let us look at the definition of what natural means. So we basically have captured it from 4 different bodies: EcoCert, Cosmos, Nature, and ISO 16128, which I talked. And the major, I'm just highlighting what is the difference. The major difference is that ISO 16128, it is permitting or it is allowing the usage of solvents, whereas in other three definitions, that part is restricted. Now, coming to the kind of awareness that we have to bring to the consumer, I guess the responsibility or the onus lies more with the certifying bodies as well as the manufacturers. So let's look at the different, again, some logos which I have put, and they are most commonly seen on the labels of the products. So you have organic agriculture, Europe, US, USDA organic, EcoCert, sustainable agri, organic agri India, vegan society, halal certification again. I mean, which part of the world your product goes and what is the logo that can be put on the label. So these are the most common logos. Let's also look at which logo to trust. So if I have just put just two examples, one is if you look at the certified cruelty-free logo, this is on the left-hand side of the slide. So you see this is how the logo looks like. This is your certified cruelty-free logo. But there are some creative people who like putting different logos, and they win. I mean, that is not the right way of putting, because every certifying body gives you what kind of logo you can put, and these are not the certified logos, but they want to convey a message, so they design their own things. But this is the major difference. Now, similar is the second example which I have taken is the vegan logo. So these are the certified vegan logos, and right hand side what you see, these are not the correct vegan logos. These are again the creative versions of these logos. So this should ideally, as a manufacturer or a marketer, one should not be using, because this confuses the consumer and this is not correct. This is not ethical as well. Coming again to what a claim could be. So it can be anything related to the functions, contents, and effects of the cosmetic product. And I guess it should be understandable, reliable, and it should help the consumer to make a decision whether they want to choose a particular product or not. And
Hema,
yeah.
may I ask you to?
I guess I have to just get back to. Probably I'll just. There was one question on, are there watchdogs or is somebody watching? So I have just come to the very last slide, that there are different government guidelines and regulators which govern the claims which are made on cosmetics. So we talked about ISCC, we talked about the Fair Trade Commission, we talked about the Cosmetics Act, that is FDA. And then I have put some, I mean, again, this will be available to the viewers, I guess, later on as well. The slide I have tried to put some different government guidelines and regulations which are to be followed to make a claim. I guess that's all from my side, Sandhya.
Thank you so much, Hema. Sorry to rush you, but we are running a little short of time. So, Pauline, I'd like you to wind up by telling us a little bit about. I can't see Pauline here. Yeah.
I'm here.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I think Aruna, I was to ask you a question on one last question on current trends in green chemistry. You wanted to talk about it, right?
Yeah. So actually, I just want to, because many of my work as a supplier, and the hurdle, a lot of things was spoken by Dr. Hema. So it was a real big challenges for everybody, but this is a way, so everybody doing best to satisfy all the formulators, India and globally. So regarding this, the integrating green chemistry principle into the development of new processes or ingredient, this is important part for the future sustainable development. So however, those ingredients, because we major, like we are looking for a long time the safety and the efficacy, but the things, sustainability now, including this one. So that means even those ingredients must be safe for the people with the respect and for the environment. So briefly, for us, our understanding, so we need ingredient non-toxic for the human and the environment. So our work, mainly on natural ingredients, so need to take care of many raw material procurement, the green solvent, the extractions, as she said, so purity issues and many things. Taking care of those things, because earlier you had the animal safety testing to look at many things, but right now, last 10 years, you have to do the alternative cell or the cell level safety, which we claim for the human. So that means we have to take care of lot of things while making this kind of development. And of course, so we are doing a lot of work on the recycled material, which are supposed to go as a waste in the tens of hundreds of thousands tons to the environment. So those waste we convert to the valuable cosmetic ingredient with lot of innovative science. So to achieve more sustainable industry, I think the cosmetic product have to incorporate more natural ingredients, greener process, and of course the influence will come from the pattern of consumer perception. The truth is that the future of cosmetic relies on more sustainable approaches, and there will not be an overnight revolution. For this is for as a ingredient manufacturing perspective, we need the time to do this revolution. So, and each effort towards sustainability, including green chemistry, is a huge step for a better future. Over to Sandhya.
Thank you, Aruna. And so I will leave Pauline to wrap up this whole discussion by speaking about end-to-end processes or life cycle analysis.
Yes, of course. I think that when we are talking about sustainability, one of the main issue is that we have to cover the entire impact on water, on the environment, and we have to have a global approach. And I think that cosmetics companies are more and more concerned by this global impact of their activity on the environment. And that's why they are also working on eco-conception when they are thinking about designing a new product. And there are also the trend of thinking about a circular economy. For sure, a lot of you have already addressed this issue by thinking about not considering a product on a linear product development on a linear base, but on a circular one, saying that after the use, the product has to be reused and become a new product in the future. So this is an important point in order to, because it has been proved as the best solution in order to decrease the impact on the environment and to move forward in the right direction. So what we see on the cosmetic market is that companies are more and more developing tools in order to have this life cycle analysis on the global development of the product, because it's really important to assess the impact of each step of the process, from the designing to the use by the consumer, to be sure that the effort that we will make on one side will not move the problem on the other one. As an example, if I use, I don't know, bioplastic instead of virgin plastic, I have to think about the use and how the waste will be impacted, to be sure that I will not move one problem to a pollution problem to another one. So that's why it's important to have this global conception of the product, to be sure that we will develop product that there will be with less impact on the environment. And I think it's a must-have for the future. And how the company are developing that, some of them are using certification system. There are some initiative on that point, But what we see that the main companies are thinking on their CSR policy in order to develop a strong policy, an internal strong policy that would contribute to the environmental protection. And you can see that I would say that the major companies on the cosmetic market, international brands are committing themselves and communicating a lot on their commitments in order to reduce the impact on water, on fossil fuel. They are using post-consumer plastics as an example. They are also developing ethical action and sustainable development. So I think it's for sure it's you must go a bit further and have a global view, but I think it's really important that each company think also all the impact that would create this activity.
Thank you. So as we come to the end of this discussion, what emerges is that as we are seeing, the consumer is increasingly aware of being natural, being good, being clean. I think that COVID has brought it more sharply into focus than at any other time, that going back to nature is the answer. While going back to nature is the ideal situation, it also poses a huge challenge for formulators and for marketing people to actually create products which are clean, natural, good, as well as cheap. Cheap, when I say cheap, I mean cost effective, cost efficient. So this is a journey, as Shankar said, true sustainability is a journey that all of us must undertake. I think it is for the sake of not just each one of us, as we have realized during COVID, it is for the environment and the planet that we live in. And I think that these are my thoughts at the end of this discussion, that goes beyond what we are actually manufacturing. It goes beyond what we are marketing. It goes to the root of what we are sourcing, where we are sourcing it from, how ethical we are in what we do. So with that, I would like to wrap up and thank you all very much for being here. Each one of you has brought so much of content and meaning to this webinar. I'm sure that all the participants will go back with a lot of ideas and a lot of questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time for taking questions live just now, but we will send them all to you so that you can answer them and we will share them with all the participants. I would like to invite our president, Renuka, Dr. Renuka Thelgaonkar, to join now and to talk to you about ISCC and her thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandhya. It was an excellent Hello, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. And it was really a very interesting talk. And I suppose after the pandemic, there are a lot of aspects which have suddenly opened up. The market has suddenly opened up to new, natural, green, clean, sustainable, though sustainability was talked way long before. I suppose last 10 years we have been discussing it out, but suddenly people have started noticing it. And this conversation, this debate today that we heard, it was really interesting and opened up a lot of avenues for the formulators as well as the industry on creating of such products and bringing it to market. I suppose now, after listening to this, lot of onus now goes on marketeers, lot of onus goes on formulators, and even the certifying agencies as well, who are going to create who are all going to put in efforts to create a new trend of cosmetics, though this is not new. In India, we are used to this from ages, and we are seeing our herbal cosmetics, Ayurvedic cosmetics, which we have been using, but now we have entered a new phase of cosmetic era, which is sustainable and green cosmetics. So taking this, I would like to thank Dr. Arunasari, Dr. Hema, Mr. Shankar Prasad, and Pauline for really an interesting debate and helping our industry colleagues to understand the various aspects of sustainable and green cosmetics in a much better way. I would also like to tell everyone that ISCC is trying its level best to create awareness amongst the formulators, amongst the students, to put in their efforts towards creating a lot of put in their innovative sparks and create various aspects of various nuances, innovations. And taking this into consideration, ISCC is also starting a certificate course on natural and organic cosmetics and Cosmos certification. We are also starting another course on safety assessor program. So these are all certified programs which ISCC is starting. And I hope the industry will take advantage of this certification program and can use it for the betterment of the new products and new brands that will come up. I would also like to thank the whole ISCC team, starting from Sandhya for excellent moderation, our secretary, Mr. Shailendra, our vice president, Mr. Dr. Suhas Nandurdikar, our treasurer, Dr. Nabar, Mr. Mahesh Chauhan, and our coordinator, Ms. Preeti, for all of them came together along with our governing body. I would also like to thank ISCC governing body for this excellent program. With this, I would like to end and tell everyone that ISCC is also coming up with newsletters now every third month. So all those who are interested in becoming a part of ISCC and learning new things, learning new what is happening in the scenario of cosmetic industry and the trends and innovations are most welcome to join in and become members of the society. You can log in on our website and check out what new is there, what all aspects are coming up. With this, I would like to say thank you and sum up the session. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
patiently hearing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.